the footrest, is that okay?
That's good, yeah.
Perfect.
Sorry for the pimples on the back.
Oh my god, I've been doing this 11 years. There's probably nothing you can show me that I haven't seen before.
Wow, what happens when you run into that?
Nothing really. Like, if they're irritated, I'll just go around them.
Have you ever had to stop and be like, is this contagious?
No. Thankfully. I think because I'm in Valencia, I kind of got the pretentious people.
Yeah, they're all clean.
But I do know one massage therapist, she used to work at our office. She would pop them before she started.
What?
Yeah.
Ouch.
And
the pain before the glory.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like her way of getting through her fetish. Because I know some people have those like pimple popping things.
Yeah, my sister used to be into that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
What about, are there no kind of massage therapist gloves that have ever been invented that would be still feel like the touch of the hand but be, a little more sanitary?
I don't think so.
There you go. That's where you're going to make the money.
There you go. Maz Jobrani just made us millions of dollars.
Massage gloves.
And that is why he's the king.
Get undressed, get under the sheets. Ooh, you're in for a treat. No, I promise this is not a dream. It's just a happy ending with Joy Eileen.
Obviously on the table today we have Maz Jobrani. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm great.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Already the best podcast I've ever done.
See? That's what Sean Pulowski said too.
I love Sean.
She sang your praises on this table.
Yeah, she and I are friends for a long time. And it's funny because when we first met, she told me that, I think it was her that said it, that, at the Comedy Store, we always bring up the next comedian. And we check with the musician, the piano guy, to go, who's next? And they say the name.
Right.
So she had not met me before, didn't know who I was. And she said, I don't know if it was Jeff Scott back then or not, but whoever the guy was at the keyboard, who's next? And the guy goes, Maz Jobrani. And she said, I thought I heard Monster Bunny. She thought she was going to see this big guy show up in a bunny suit. Monster Bunny, the comedian.
Monster Bunny. That should be your next special right there.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Bunny. No, but she could not say anything bad about you.
Yeah, she was great. I love her.
Bette Midler came out and did a solo about you. It was amazing. It was a great massage.
Hilarious.
So I know I've got you on the chair a couple times. Have you had massage before?
Yeah, I'm big into massage. My wife loves massages, and she loves super strong, deep tissue massage.
Oh, I love your wife.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like right there. I don't need it to be as strong as she likes it, but I still love massage. I've always had the first massage I ever had was, I was a student in college. It was my freshman year in college, just finished finals, and I thought, you know what, I deserve a massage. So I went and got a massage, and the lady was this lady. I don't know what she was, but she had this really tight-fitting shirt. Now I'm 17 at the time, or 18.
Right.
She had a tight-fitting shirt, and her breasts are just like mountaintops. And it was not a sexual massage, but I was young and I was aroused, and that's the only time I've ever had that happen to me, because I didn't know what to expect. It was the first time, and she was like, at the end of the massage, when you flip on your back, she was above my head with my back. I'm flipped on my back, and as she would come like down like to my chest and stomach, her boobs would keep going on my face.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what? I was confused. I go, is this supposed to be sexual? I'm thinking this. And then the next thing you know, I'm aroused, and I'm like, oh my God. And it was embarrassing, but that was the only time that's ever happened. But after that, I've really just, all over the world, I've had massages.
You're searching for her again.
Looking for her, yeah. No, actually, it's like, it was too much stress. I left more stress than I did. I'd rather just relax. Funny, the other stressful massage I had was, I was in Amman, Jordan, doing shows. And I don't know if you've ever seen when like a soccer player gets hurt or something, and the trainer goes out and takes the guy's leg and puts it on his shoulder. When the guy's sitting with his butt on the grass, they'll lift the leg on the shoulder, and they start shaking the legs like to loosen up the muscles or whatever. And so this dude must have been some sort of sport guy, And he definitely was not well versed on modern day deep tissue massage, because whole massage he was taking my legs and shaking them. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to relax. And I'm trying to fall asleep. He keeps shaking my legs. And he's like, no, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. It's terrible.
You go, no, this is not how we do it.
Yeah.
You're supposed to put your boobs in my face.
Boobs in my face, please.
That happened to me in massage school. This girl, she leaned over me and one was on each side, like her nipples were earplugs.
Yeah.
And I started laughing, and then I'm like, me being who I am, I just motorboated her. My teacher goes, well, now you learned. And she goes, I didn't even realize they were there. I'm like, I hope
That's
not.
So then how did she remedy that? Just like don't bend over as far?
Right. I don't even know what she was doing because, well, when I do the head, neck, and shoulders when you're face up, I'm sitting.
Oh, I see.
But I don't ever go down. I mean, I'll do the pecs, but anything lower, like even if I do an abdominal massage, I'm on the side.
Yeah, I guess it's just different reaches, different styles, and like you said, people are probably just trying to get some sort of balance to put pressure. I had one girl one time. She was short, and she was putting her feet up on the wall, pushing against the wall, and then pushing against my body.
I've done that.
Oh my God, I left in pain. I was like, are you crazy?
I've done that a couple times because the room that I work in at the chiropractor's office is a tiny little tomb. Mm-hmm. It's my little dungeon, and the wall is so close that I'll just put my foot on it and just press down to get leverage.
Now, is that because the person just has firmer muscles that it's harder to penetrate, or why do you need to do that?
It just, if there's a certain spot that I really need to get, or I need to get the pressure in it to get the blood flow to it, or break the fascia up, and I'll just take the extra leverage.
Have you had ever someone who's so big where you go, oh my God, I cannot, it would be so hard to penetrate this, and the opposite being someone who's so small where you go, oh my God, I'm going to break this guy?
Yes. I was telling Emily a while ago, I think she was in her 80s. I don't remember what age she was. She was in her 80s, a tiny little Filipino lady. Mm. And her daughter brought her. She couldn't drive, and she's on my table, and she's barely making a dent in the sheets. And I start pressing on her, and she starts yelling at me.
Oh, my God.
You go harder.
Oh, she went harder.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to break you. And at some point, she called me an American pussy.
Hilarious.
And so I did. I went hard. I was watching bruises form on her body as my hand passed it. And at the end, I walked out and I told her daughter, I'm like, I just almost killed your mom. Well, she's going to have so many bruises. And she's like, that's fine.
That's so funny. She's a tough lady.
Oh, my gosh. But then you have these men who get on the table and they're all bodybuilders and just lighter. Really?
So funny.
All right.
Yeah, I got kids. I got a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. So once in a while they say, well, can you massage me? And you're just so kind of sensitive to not wanting to hurt them. But and they're so skinny, like they haven't really developed that many muscles to get into anyway. My wife is pretty good with that. She's really good with massaging them.
See, I don't. I'm a bad mom. They're like, Mom, massage me. I'm like, pay me and schedule an appointment.
How old are the kids?
I have 7, 12, and 17.
Oh, wow.
I have all boys.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Rambunctious.
Yes. I was yelling at him last night. I'm all, this is why we have nothing nice.
Breaking things.
It's just dog rodeo. I'm all, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, they're crazy. My daughter was showing me some obstacle course she set up with this pillow that you jump on, and then it slides across the wood floor, and then you land it. And I go, that's not a good thing. And I told them, I said, remember Russell Peters used to have the joke where he said his father would always say, somebody gonna get hurt.
Yes.
I said, that's how I felt.
That's what I tell them too. Like when they're like, Mom, come look at me do this jump. I will tell them I don't watch it. I just fix it when it goes bad.
Yeah.
Like, call me when you're bleeding. I got that part, but I don't want to see it happen.
Yeah, it's amazing because they don't think about all the hazards that are around them. Again, they were doing a pillow fight on top of our couch, and then there's this TV. We just moved into a new place, so the TV is closer to the couch than they were used to, and then there's French doors right behind them, and I go, guys, one bad move, you're going through the glass, you're going into the TV. I said, I need you to assess the situation before. I go out on the grass and play your pillow fight. He kind of stared at me. I don't know if it worked or not.
And you're like, why are you... No, we're having fun.
Exactly.
Grass. Killer.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get itchy.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to do a lot of stupid stuff. I one time tried to use my bicycle to jump off bleachers. You know, the bleachers they have at baseball games?
Uh-huh.
So I did the lower level, and all you gotta do is you just pull up the front of the bike when you get close to the edge, and you just kind of pop a wheelie and you go off. But then I went one level higher, and I tried to do it, and I lifted too late. And by the time I tried to lift, the wheel had already cut the edge of the bench, so it started going downwards. And I'm holding onto the handlebar, so I got nothing to stop my head from hitting first. So I landed right there, knocked out, woke up. They had to take me to get stitches in the skin inside my eyes. One of my eyes, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, just a disaster. So stupid.
That was actually going to be my next question is, have you broken anything?
I broke I think it was my left ankle, or was it right ankle? I forget which ankle it was, but I broke that playing soccer 10 years ago, right when my son was about to be born.
Okay.
I actually organized the baby shower for my wife. We did a co-ed baby shower, had a great party, ordered a pitcher of sangria, not a pitcher, a cooler, a Gatorade cooler of sangria, which not many people had, so I had to drink a lot of it. So by the end of the party, I was just loopy and having a great time. And then the next day, I had a soccer game. I was playing in a men's league, and this thing happened. I played soccer my whole life, and this was the only time this happened where I had the ball, nobody was around me, they were all in other parts of the field, and I was bringing the ball up, and my foot just caught the ball, and I rolled off the ball, and then I just heard this crack, and then the referee came over. I actually turned it into a bit of my stand-up. The referee was this Mexican dude, and he's like, well, it's not broken, and I don't know why he thought it was not broken. He's like, just wiggle it. So I tried wiggling, and a little bit of wiggling was happening, but not a lot. And finally, we called the paramedics. They showed up, and I don't know if you've had any experience with this before, but they show up and they go, look, we can call an ambulance to take you to the hospital, and no matter what kind of insurance you have, they'll still probably charge you $1,000.
Yep.
Because ambulances aren't covered. Or he said, you can have these guys just drive you to Adventist over there in Glendale, because I was near Glendale. I said, sure. So my buddies drove me over, and the ankle was broken, and it was a month before my wife gave birth, so she needed me, and I was just sitting there with my foot up. I felt pretty useless, and my son was born. I was just getting out of the cast, so the day he was born, I was in the hospital with my wife, and we both spent the night in the room, and whenever she wanted to see the baby, I'd hop over on one leg, grab the baby like a football, and then hop over to her. So if he's at all got any problems, apart from me shaking him, as
I'm not shaking the baby, I'm jumping with him. You didn't say anything about hopping with the baby.
Exactly.
When you were talking about the referee, I thought you were going to say, came over and started shaking my leg.
Right.
Yeah, he's Jordanian.
This is how we do it. You want a massage? So an ankle, is that all you've got?
That was I broke that, and I broke my jaw when I was in college. I went to college at UC Berkeley.
Okay.
And sometimes these kids would come in from Oakland, and they would jump the college students. So I was standing at a bus stop one time, midnight, and I was new to Berkeley, and I'd grown up in Marin County, Tiburon, which was very pristine and very affluent city. So I wasn't really a city-wise child. I wasn't street smart, and so I was new to Berkeley, and I didn't realize that kind of stuff happened. And so I went and it was a Saturday, saw Cal play football, and then was taking the bus back to my apartment in Oakland, and I was at the bus stop alone at midnight. And now, knowing the situation, I probably would have... A friend of mine actually said, why don't you come spend the night in the dorms? And I said, no, I got it. So, again, standing there, and then these four guys walk up, and one of them walks up to me, and he looks at me in the eyes, and he goes, hey, I'm angry, can I hit you?
Oh!
Yeah, and I didn't know... I go, excuse me, he goes, I'm angry, can I hit you? and I had my hands in my jacket, and that's another thing I learned. You should keep your hands in your jacket because you could pretend to have a weapon.
Okay.
But I didn't know that, so I took my hands out and I put my hands kind of up to go, hey, man, I'm cool, like I'm okay, like I don't want to fight. And he's like, you're cool, huh? And then he's just staring at me, and the next thing I feel, my head is going up. He's giving me an uppercut, and my head, I felt like I was lifted off the ground. It all kind of felt like slow-mo, so I went up, and in those few seconds I go, oh shit, I got hit. And I come back down, and I was in really good shape because I played soccer, so I just started running, and they didn't chase me, I just ran the 3 miles back to my house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I got home and I called my sister and my aunt, who is my sister's age, and I said, hey, this happened. And they go, let us tell Mom and Dad. They told my parents, and they said, oh, take them to the hospital, we'll meet you there. So they came pick me, because they lived across the bay from Berkeley. So they picked me up, we go to the hospital, and they go, yep, it's broken. Ugh. So I had to get it wired shut for like 6 weeks or something, and it was just horrible, because one of the things that happens is that your digestion doesn't work quite right, and so you have to blend everything
right
and drink it, and then your breath just starts really stinking. So my friends would be making fun of me for bad breath, and I got through it. I didn't drop out of school that semester. I stayed in school. It was hard to talk because your mouth was wired shut, so in class when you wanted to talk, you sounded it was hard to kind of make out what you were saying.
Right.
But I got through it. So it was just part of life, and that's it.
And now you got a good story while I massage you.
I got a good story, exactly, about breaking bones.
You know when it happened, you're like, ooh, can I get a massage?
Yeah, I know. 30 years from now, I'm getting a massage. You know what's funny, actually, I didn't know it was broken at first, because when I first came down, like when my head first kind of came back into place, I started running, and I was spitting, and there was no blood.
Okay.
And I thought, oh my God, I got away, scot-free. But I could feel that it was, something was off. And so that's it. When I went in and they looked at it, they go, yeah, they broke your horrible, huh?
Now have you had to deal with any of broken bones with them yet?
My son, I think, has had a couple of ankle issues, like sprained ankles and stuff. They just plays club soccer, but he also they're very active, so when they have friends over, they're jumping on the trampoline and they're doing all kinds of silly stuff. So I think he sprained his ankle once or twice, maybe in school, just messing around. And then my daughter has not had any broken bones. She did have, when she was a baby, there was a thing where I think somebody was trying to lift her out of the bed with grabbing her by the arm, and the arm came out of the elbow socket.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called like crib, it's got a name, like crib baby or crib elbow or something. So we went to the doctor, and the doctor, it was actually pretty neat. I guess I was in there, my wife said the doctor just kind of distracted the kid, and while the kid was distracted, she just very nicely put it back into place.
Nice.
The kid didn't even feel it, and the doctor told my wife, she goes, that's how you gotta do it. You gotta get them talking or looking in another direction, and it just snaps right in. I go, wow.
That's how, there used to be another chiropractor that worked with us, and he would teach me how to adjust his neck and his back. He's like, Joy, come on. And the way he taught me to adjust his neck is I would find a spot that needed to be adjusted, and then I'd get it in place, and then he'd be like, say something insane, which is super easy for me, to distract me, and then while I'm distracted, just snap my neck.
Oh, no.
And that's how I learned how to adjust necks.
Wow. Yeah.
But I only did it on him because I was terrified.
Oh, geez, yeah. You could break somebody's neck.
I don't think I was that strong, but...
You see in the movies, the spies, they just snap it.
Yeah, they make it seem easy. Getting that neck to adjust, that took a lot of pressure, so...
Yeah.
Those spies had to have some crazy forearm muscles to get that thing to twist.
So were you doing massage before stand-up?
Yes.
And then what made you want to do stand-up?
Stand-up was kind of because of this. Like, I would be in the massage room and we would be cracking up. And then one day I told John, I was like, you know what? Bucket list. It was around my birthday. The kids were at my parents' house for the week. And he found me an open mic. And I did it. And then I didn't do it again for 2 years. And then I had a friend while I was massaging him. The next day he called me and he's like, hey, you're in Tom Clark's stand-up class.
Oh, wow.
Because, we were just having so much fun just going back and forth. And then I took 101 and 102 with Tom Clark. Mm-hmm. And then I did Flapper's World's Wittiest Woman, and I got second. in my night, which was also election night when Trump won.
Oh wow, so this is all recent.
Yes. And then I really didn't do it, and then starting January is when I actually started doing open mics. And,
Of this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's been a crazy journey.
And that's how you met Josh as well?
Yes, Josh was on the podcast, and I've always said, like, my first Netflix special is going to be me pulling people out of the crowd, massaging them. And then I was like, oh, I should start a podcast where I massage people, because there's so many times I'm in the massage room and my knees are going weak because we're laughing and having so much fun.
Oh, that's funny.
Or people are telling stories that just really need to be shared.
Yeah.
I'm also that person that's like, why haven't you written a book yet? Write a book.
Yeah.
Want me to write your book for you? I'll write your book. And so it just kind of turned into that. And then I had a friend who kind of got sick of me saying, oh, I should do a massage podcast. And one day he brought me his microphone, got on the table, and he's like, we're recording this. And that's how it started.
That's awesome.
And then I was terrified to ask people to be on it. So then I met Emily, who is not afraid of anything.
Great.
And she's hilarious as well. And I was like, okay, you're the producer now. And I just kind of put everything off on her. I'm like, you do it now.
That's great. So, Emily, are you stand up too?
I am.
Oh, great.
She is.
That works out.
And she works at the Comedy Store. So I have my ends now. It's awesome.
Are you the Emily from Comedy Store?
No, I am not. That
Okay.
is, yeah, she does the special bookings.
Yeah. Okay. For a second, I was like, wait. So, what do you do at the Comedy Store?
I do the cover booth and I run food sometimes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, are you a non-paid regular?
I have not showcased for Adam yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
That's neat. How long you been there?
I just started in July.
Oh, good for you guys.
Yay.
You guys are babies.
Yes. How long have you been in it?
I've been doing it for 20 years, and I started at the Comedy Store in '99, so I'll be 20 years at the Comedy Store next year.
Yes, because I graduated in 99 and my 20-year reunion is next year.
There you go. There you go.
Yay.
You guys are high school in '99.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I graduated in '89. I'm feeling old.
No, I'm feeling, yeah. Well, at least you don't turn 37 and have your middle son ask you if this is the year you start carrying hard candy around in your purse.
Hard candy? What does that mean?
Because I guess old people carry hard
Oh,
candy.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, he's got a sense of humor.
Oh, he's a dick, yeah. He also likes to call me Oldie Hans, which is not funny.
Well, at least he knows who Goldie Hawn is now.
You know what? I told him that too. I go, you're 12. You don't know who Goldie Hawn is. And he goes, I heard it on The Simpsons and it sounded mean.
Hilarious.
You're just a jerk. All right. That's good to know I have one of
I
those.
think he's a smart kid.
Now, which one, do you see any of your kids following in your footsteps?
I don't know. You know, they both have their own interests, but at the same time, I think that they do look up to what I do. I've seen, like, they love to watch. They love to come to my performances. They love to come hang out with other comics. They like being funny, so you never know. My daughter was taking piano lessons. She doesn't have the best work ethic. I mean, what kid does?
Right.
But she's got the skills for it. She definitely has. She did some really good playing, and she loves to dance. She loves to put dance routines together.
I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen your Instagram.
There you go. And then my son, I think he kind of, I won't say worships me, but I think he really would want to be something like that just because of me. But I just encourage them. I go, find what you love to do.
Yes.
Don't do it for me, you know.
Yes.
So I come from an immigrant background, and my parents did not encourage me to find what I love. They just were like, you should have a respectable occupation: lawyer, doctor, engineer. That's it.
Those are the big three.
Yeah, so they don't. You know, that's what immigrant parents know. I think America is very different in that they really you're encouraged to find your dream and go after it.
Right.
You know, but a lot of other cultures, I think, really believe that they just want what's best for their kid, and I think that they feel what's best is a good paying job. And what are those jobs? Well, lawyer and doctor. You know, those are the main ones. Then engineers are a close third. But none of those interested me.
Right. Well, see, I was kind of the opposite. Like, I went to school for physical therapy. I wanted to be a physical therapist, and that was what I was going to do. And then later on, Even though I'm a huge biology nerd and I love any science-based anything, I wouldn't have been happy doing it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be so successful and I wanted people to be so proud of me that I just kept sticking with it. And then now, you know, I started comedy super late. I started writing books super late. Like everything came so late to me that I'm trying to encourage my kids, like you said, find something that you're passionate about, because you're going to try and people please people and you're not going to please yourself.
Yeah, that was the thing I had to realize too, that it was a light bulb moment where I go, wait a minute, this is my life. It's not my mom's life. It's not my dad's life. There's no, you know, I can't live to please them.
Right.
So you literally have one life and that's it. And there's no in your head going, oh, maybe one day I get to it. No, get to it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I say. I'm like, whether you believe in reincarnation or whatever you believe in, you're only going to be Joy this one life. Whether you're somebody else next, like, this is Joy's life, leave the best of it.
What's your sign? I wonder if it has something to do with our signs.
I'm Cancer.
Okay, I'm Pisces, so it has nothing to do with our sign. Cancer is which one? It's June, right?
It's July.
Right, late June, early July.
Yeah.
Because my son is June 26th. I think he's a Cancer too.
Super moody.
Yeah.
Very passionate. Very loyal. Ridiculously loyal. Like, you're nice to me and do anything. I'm like, what do you want? What do you
I
need?
wonder if there's any signs where they're like, you're just a dick.
I wonder that too. Because if you think about it, like Harry Potter, you know, like Slytherin, you're going to get a bunch of dicks. Like Hufflepuff, you know.
Yeah.
I just went super nerd, but...
My second sister's a Taurus, and she's kind of a dick, so...
I wonder if that's part
maybe
of it.
that's...
I don't know.
The Taurus are the dicks. We just
Taurus is what? Taurus is, my wife is Taurus, I think. Isn't that like May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
John's a Taurus.
Is it?
John was born Cinco de Mayo.
Well, maybe it's just my sister.
Yeah, my wife is May 4th, the day before your husband.
May 4th.
She's Star Wars Day.
Yeah, that's right. May the 4th be with you.
What made you decide comedy? Like, what was it like? Did you have like an extreme light bulb moment?
Yeah, so I came to America. I was 6 years old when I came from Iran. This was late 78, and there was a revolution happening in Iran. So the revolution happened in 79. And we had come to America. My dad was on business in America, and he told my mom to bring my sister and I to New York to just spend a couple weeks with him on our winter break, and in the hopes that things would cool down back in Iran and we could go back.
Okay.
I think a lot of Iranians felt that the revolution was not going to be successful. They thought that the Shah, who was the leader, would squash it, and so we came to America, and the revolution kept getting worse and worse, and then by the time it was time to go back, it was just not, we couldn't go back. So we ended up, I always say we packed for 2 weeks, and we stayed for 40 years. And that's a pretty common story, just people getting out of there. And the reason we had to leave was because my father was a businessman who had been successful under the Shah. And he had friends who were pretty prominent people, whether they were the chief of police or people in the military. And so there was this kind of, mood coming out of the revolution, and they were going after people who had been successful, definitely people who had ties to the government, so they were executing military leaders and other politicians. But it was just too risky, even though my father was not actually an official. It was too risky for him to stay there. So we came here, and we were one of the lucky ones. My dad was able to get a lot of his money out coming out.
Right.
And so when we first came, I was staying at the Plaza Hotel in New York, across from FAO Schwartz, which was the biggest toy store in the world.
Nice.
Just eating ice cream sundaes and going, oh, this is great. America's fantastic.
America rocks.
Yeah. And then my father eventually, because of bad real estate investments, lost all of his money. But in the process, we moved to Northern California, and while I was there, it must have been like 9 or 10 or something when I first saw Eddie Murphy. And I just loved him on Saturday Night Live. Before his special Delirious, he had one called, I think it was just called Eddie Murphy Comedian. It was a tape.
Okay.
We used to sit around with my buddies, listen to it. So I just wanted to be like him suddenly. And he was my hero, and everything he did, like even the moment in 48 Hours, the movie, when Nick Nolte first goes to the jail to pick up Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy's got his headphones on with sunglasses, and he's messing up Roxanne by the police, and it's just had me falling out of my chair laughing. So, want to be like Eddie.
Okay.
Started doing plays in junior high school, musicals. The director told me that I'm good at it. One day, I just realized this recently. One day, it was during rehearsals, and I was sick. And the teacher, the director, had said, her name was Shirley Bonbright. She said, when you're singing in a musical, you always got to be smiling. So I'm at rehearsals. I'm one of the backup dancer singers in the musical called The Boyfriend, and I'm singing and dancing, smile on my face, even though I got a cold. And so Shirley Bonbright stops the whole rehearsal. Everybody stop. Look at him. You see him? He's up there smiling, and he's sick. You should all learn from him.
Aww.
So it was a moment where it was, an affirmation, and I think made me feel good. And so I said, okay, maybe I'm good at this. So stuck with it, did some more, and got to lead the next year. And went to high school. We had a really good theater department, and in that process, the teacher there was telling me, Michelle Swanson was her name. She said, you could do this for a living. You're really good. And so people just kept telling me I was good at it. And then, of course, when I told my immigrant parents, they laughed in my face.
Of course, yeah.
You're going to be a lawyer or a doctor or something. So I went to UC Berkeley, studied political science. I was going to be a lawyer. And then my junior year in college, I decided to study abroad. I went to Italy, and there was a professor there. I loved what he was doing, so I said, maybe I'll just be a professor. Came back to America, got into UCLA for a PhD program. And then while I was there, I started doing plays at UCLA, and I just realized I loved being on stage, and I hated being in class talking about political science. So I dropped out, and I just started doing plays on the side for fun. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s when I was in this advertising agency. I'd gotten a day job at an ad agency as an assistant.
Okay.
And I was doing a comedy, and there was an older guy at the agency. His name was Joe Ryan, and he saw me dubbing the play from one videotape to another videotape in the agency, and he goes, hey, you're funny. Have you thought about doing this professionally? And I go, listen, I'm thinking of saving up money and going after it when I'm 30. And he goes, let me talk to you for a second. He goes, look, I'm in my 60s. He goes, when I was in my 20s, there was a lot I wanted to do, and I just never got around to doing it. He goes, really want to do it, you got to do it. So it was a light bulb moment, and I actually did kind of similar to you. I enrolled in a sketch comedy class at the Acme Theater, improv class.
Okay.
And while I was there, I met Judy Carter, who taught a stand-up comedy class, took her class, and really the most important lesson I learned from that class was you need to get on stage as much as you can and write as much as you can.
Yes.
And so I just set off, and I just started doing, first 2 spots, then 3, then 4, then 5, then whatever it took per week. Wherever I had to go, I'd go. And I just stuck to it for 20 years, and here we are.
That's awesome. That's crazy, though. But it's different without kids, because everybody says that, too. And to the point where I almost went, like, maybe I should stop pursuing it, because I can't get out here. One, I'm like 30-40 minutes away, unless an hour and a half away when somebody decides to crash, and it takes a while to get here, and then the kids. So there's a point where I'm only doing maybe 1-2 open mics a week.
Yeah.
So I feel bad, like I'm trying to pay my dues. It's just harder for me.
Yeah, listen, life gets in the way, and that's really something that's hard. I mean, you've heard of these success stories. I don't know if Roseanne had kids or not, but you hear of people who have kids and they do it. And it's really hard, because I have kids, and I know that one of the things I try to do now, because I tour a lot, but I want to be home as much as I can. So when I tour, if I've got a show that Friday and I can fly in Friday, I'll fly in Friday, and I'll fly out on the first flight back on Sunday.
Nice.
So the idea being I want to be home as much as I can. And so that goes for you in terms of doing open mics. You want to be able to help, put the kids to sleep and cuddle with them and feed them or whatever else you got to do, especially the young one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if there's open mics near you, then that works. But if, like you said, if you got to drive an hour, drive back an hour, and then by the time you're home, it's midnight or 1, you got to be up early the next day. Yeah, it gets really tedious and hard. But really, there's no other way to get good than to do it. I've had a lot of people will hit me up and say, hey, I wanna do stand up, and can I get on your show? And I go, well, no, you should go get up at the Comedy Store at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And they go, no, I want to get on your show. And I go, no, you don't understand. My show is going to have a warm audience who's there and excited to see the show. Mm-hmm. You're not going to grow. You need to get up where they don't know who you are, they're exhausted, you're tired, and you just get up and you start talking from the heart and talk about stuff that's on your mind.
Yes.
And suddenly that's what turns into material. You know, when I first started, I did a lot of bringer shows, and I had a pretty good draw because I had my day job folks, I had friends, family, relatives, and I got pretty good at promoting those bringer shows. And then once I became a regular at the Comedy Store, I didn't have to do bringer anymore. I just showed up. And I remember one night I was just doing my act. It was early, and I wasn't paying attention to the audience. I was just kind of doing the act. And then the act after me went up, and he did this kind of crowd work, but it was set material, but it was crowd work as well.
Okay.
And the crowd was so much more receptive because he was acknowledging them.
Yes.
So that was a moment where I go, oh, okay, I can't just get up there and ignore these people, just start doing my act. I got to talk to them. And then another night, there was a guy named Freddie Soto. Freddie Soto was one of the funniest guys. He was this Mexican-American, and he was getting ready to just hit. And unfortunately, he passed away, I think about 10 years ago, maybe. But when I first started, Freddie was a great comedian there. I remember I got up one night. It was, what would happen is Mitzi Shore, the owner of the club, would give you, let's say, a midnight spot. And that's when people are really dirty. And I wasn't dirty at all. But she just kept putting me there. And then you'd be ready to go up at midnight. And then Eddie Griffin or Andrew Dice Clay or Paul Mooney, somebody would come in and go, I want to go up. And they go up and do an hour. And now it's 1. And then you're getting ready to go up, and then someone else comes up. And so one of those times, it was probably like 1:30, 1:45. There weren't that many people in the audience. Really, it was these two nerdy guys and this really beautiful girl. And I remember I started doing my act, and I didn't know Freddie was sitting in the back because it was end of the night, just sitting in the back watching. Started doing my act and wasn't really getting much response, and then I just was curious. I was like, what's going on here? How did you two nerdy dudes end up with this hot girl? So I just started talking to them, and it became this whole thing, and I was riffing off of it, and they were laughing, I was laughing, we had a good time, and I came off stage, and then Freddie happened to be sitting in the back. He goes, hey man, I watched that. He goes, you're funny. I go, thanks. He goes, what you did was showed right now that you can adapt and you're funny. And he goes, it's not about bits. If you only are funny because of your bits, then you're not funny. You're either funny or you're not funny. Meaning you're either a funny person or you're not. It's beyond the bits. It's about being that funny person. And that's what I'm saying, when you get up in that situation where it's late and you're tired and you don't care, and suddenly your material, you can't go up and go, oh, whatever, don't you hit it with toothpaste, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You go up and you just say, what the hell are we doing here? Like, why are you guys here? Like, I am a mom of 3 kids. I'm a masseuse. I make a living. I shouldn't be, like, once you get into that world, where it's almost therapy and your attitude's coming out with it, I swear, you start growing so much. You start finding material.
That's funny, because I kind of had one of those moments last week, because my brother, it's just him and I'm 6 years older than him. My parents own their own business, so I basically raised this little man. And he's 31, and his girlfriend got pregnant, and I was so excited because I was like, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm having babies. And John's like, you gotta stop telling people that. I'm like, well, I look like it, so it's fine. Yeah. But, and then my brother called me and he told me there was twins. And then later that week he told me that they lost them both. Oh. And I was devastated.
Wow.
Like, I was at the Comedy Store just bawling to Emily. And then I was like, you know what though? Fuck those babies. Those babies are quitter babies. And I just went on this crazy rant. And I did it on stage the other night. It was just basically my rant, maybe, polished a little. Yeah. And that was the best response I've ever had.
Yeah, exactly. Because you go into a place of sincerity, and and in this case, you're just trying to find comedy to get you through this despair. You know? And so, I think the more honest you are, the more the audience feels it. I've done bits before where I'll never be able to do it again because it was just particular to that moment with that comedian. I mean, that audience. It's hard to go, oh, what if we were all in here and there was a drunk girl talking to me and her brother was a sailor and da 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 da.
Right.
But that night it became huge because I just it's like riding, it's surfing. You're riding the wave, and sometimes the wave comes in a very different way than you anticipated.
Right, it turns you sideways and you've either got to go or fall.
Yeah, you gotta go. So if you ignore it, if someone's, let's say, saying something out loud and you totally ignore it, then the audience is hearing it, you're hearing it, you're pretending not to hear it, but they can't pretend not to hear it. So you miss out on an opportunity.
True.
One of the times when I also realized that you just gotta talk, I had all these subjects I kept putting down on my notebook. I'm going to do a bit about this, I'm going to do about that, bit about that. And all this stuff lined up, and I just hadn't been working on it. And there was an open mic at some place on Melrose, and I went to do it, and the guy running it was him, his buddy, and another guy. There was 3 people in the audience, and then we were just all comedians, and we were getting up. So then I went back the next time, and it was the same 3 guys again. No one showed up. So I started doing my act, and then I go, guys, why am I doing my act? You've heard my act.
Right.
And I said, let me see what I got on my notepad. And then I just started taking that and just riffing. And it's actually a good exercise to do with other comics or at an open mic. Just take the subject, riff on it, and see if you can write on stage.
Right, see if you can find a rhythm. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Find the story, go for it. Maybe they can even tag it for you.
Did you find when you first started that you get booked on shows that were kind of, it was more like ethnic shows or things like that? Like I remember listening to Al Madrigal talk about when he went to do HBO, he didn't realize that he was doing HBO Latino.
Oh yeah.
And so, did that stuff like that happen?
Not as much. I just was, like I said, I think what I had going for me was that I was really good at getting people to come out. I saw it in a seminar, Tommy Davidson speak. They had just comedians at I guess it was AFTRA at the time.
I'm going to flip you over.
Okay, it was one of those free seminars where you go talk and listen to comedians talk about stuff. And so Tommy Davidson was there talking about when he first came to LA. And he said, when I first came to LA, he goes, I did some club or something. And he says, I did a show, went really well. And he goes, after the show, I got people's email addresses, or mailing addresses. It wasn't email, mailing addresses. He goes, so the next time, I guess he'd been living in D.C. or something. So he goes, the next time I came to L.A. to do a show, I sent out flyers or postcards, and people showed up. So I kind of took that advice, and I started accruing. This is now late 90s, early 2000. I started accruing mailing lists, mailing addresses, as well as email lists. But I would do once a month, I would take the shows for that month, I'd put it on a stickery thing, I'd print it out, and then I would get these flyers and I would stick the upcoming shows, onto the back of these little postcards with my picture on it. And then I had address labels. I would take the address labels, put them on. I would take stamps, I'd put them on. Sometimes I'd be up till like 2-3 in the morning just putting stamps on these things. And then I'd mail. You could mail like 400 or 500 of those. You would basically take it to this place that was it was the breakdown services. You would take the breakdown service, and they would distribute it to all the casting directors and agents and stuff. And then I would also, like I said, the ones that I put stamps on, I would mail those to my fan base. So when I would do shows, if it was a bringer show, whereas other comics were bringing 2 people, I'd bring 5 people, I'd bring 6 people, sometimes I'd bring 10 people. So I think that started getting me booked on all kinds of shows. It wasn't, and back then, by the way, when I first started, there really was no quote-unquote Middle Eastern show, because there was not that many of us. Like, there was me and Ahmed, and I didn't even, I met Ahmed at some point, but I didn't know he was doing it. And then I was doing a show at the Ha Ha Cafe, and I listened, and Aaron Cater was up, and they go, yeah, he's half Palestinian, half Mormon. I go, okay, so there really wasn't that many of us, so there was not ethnic shows for me to be on. The most ethnic of shows that I was doing was the Latino dudes in LA all had rooms in east of downtown, so Rosemead and those places. So I would show up there, And I'd been in the movie Friday After Next, which was Ice Cube's third installment of the Friday movies. And that did well in the Black and Latino community. So when I would go do the Latino shows, Latinos would know me from that. They'd be like, hey, what's up? It's Molly from Friday After Next. So I was doing different ethnic stuff, but for the most part, I was pretty just standard, open mic, didn't matter where I was going. It wasn't until Mitzi Shore, in 2000, Mitzi, who's Jewish, was watching CNN. And there was the latest uprising with the Palestinians and the Israelis. And so there was all this conflict again. And Mitzi says, I think there's going to be a need for a positive voice for Muslims in the near future. And this was in 2000, before September 11th. So Mitzi had been notorious for doing that. She'd put theme shows together like Black Night, Latino Night, Ladies Night. So she wanted to do a Middle Eastern night and call it Arabian Nights. So she's the one who then, I got a call from Duncan Trussell, who was the booker back then. He goes, do you know any other Middle Eastern or Muslim comedians? I go, well, there's this guy Aaron Cater. He's half Palestinian. I go, he probably qualifies. He goes, sure. And then Mitzi had seen, and I was the only regular at the Comedy Store that was of Middle Eastern descent back then. Mitzi had seen Ahmed perform on one of these nights that was promoted by an outside promoter. So she's like, I got an Egyptian. I got you, the Persian dude. I've got this half Palestinian guy. Now, Sam Tripoli had been trying to get into the Comedy Store. He'd showcased for her, and she had said no.
Okay.
But when this happened, I was friends with Sam, and Duncan was friends with Sam, and I told Duncan, I said, Duncan, what about Sam? His last name's Tripoli. I go, that's the capital of Libya. I go, maybe he's Libyan. So we called up Sam. We go, what's your deal? He goes, well, I'm half Armenian. And so we go, that's got to work. So we called. So then Duncan,
close enough.
Yeah, exactly. Duncan came back and goes, yeah, she likes it. You're on. So suddenly, because of it being half Armenian, he became a regular. And then our show really had anyone who was brown that was not Latino or African American was on our show. So we had an Indian dude. We had this girl who was white, but she was gonna like belly dance or something. Yeah, so it was this wacky show. And then the whole time I'm thinking, who's gonna come see this show? Like, people really. And again, this is before September 11th. What we ended up doing was we ended up reaching out to the student groups at UCLA and USC. We said, let's find the Persian student group, Arab student group, Muslim student group, Indian, whatever we can find. Let them know there's this comedy show, and let's get a guest list. People can just come. Okay. So I think the first time we did a Arabian Night show, I'm pretty sure it was the first time, it was in the main room at the Comedy Store, and I think we comped like 150 tickets or something. Half the room was comped.
Wow. Nice.
But it ended up being packed, and it went well. And then the problem was, well, if we do it again, will we have enough new material the next time we do it?
Right.
But that's the first time we started doing it. And then the problem is Iranians are not Arabs. Mm-hmm. So it would be like doing a show with a Portuguese dude, a Spanish dude, a Brazilian dude, and calling it Spanish Nights. And the Portuguese and the Brazilian go, well, we're not Spanish. So Iranians kept saying that. And then so eventually that's what we turned into. Me, Aaron, and Ahmed turned into the Axis of Evil comedy tour.
Yeah. Okay.
Which made fun of the George Bush speech where he said there's an Axis of Evil.
Yeah.
And by then we narrowed it down to me, Ahmed, and Aaron because we were the more Middle Eastern than the other guys. You know, they just, and also our material worked better with that audience than some of the other guys. So yeah, so I really was not in that realm until Mitzi started it, and to this day, like if there's like a, then there was like, then you have like, the Axis of Evil, the Sultans of this, then at a certain point you go, it's when it's a show with everyone from that background is too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I prefer to have, even if I do a show where I have like a handful of Middle Eastern comics, I'll try to get a black guy or a white girl or even an Indian guy who's different from Middle Easterners. It's like just put a little flavor in the middle. Otherwise, you end up at the end of the night and some of the jokes cross over. But the good news is now there's a lot more of those people from that background.
Right.
And they all come from different points of view. One's younger, one's older, one's got a girlfriend, one's upset about whatever,
Right. That's funny. I have a lieutenant in the LAPD. I've been massaging him forever, and I told him that I was massaging you, and he was like, he's Persian.
Oh, there you go.
And he's like, can I teach you Farsi? Well, I don't, but I don't trust him.
Yeah. Teach you cuss words.
I don't even know if it'd be cuss words. It would just probably be something very derogatory, or just something like, "Hey, Maz, you want to see my butthole?" Or I just don't trust him. But he's like, let me, and then he asked me if he could come. I'm like, yeah, because that's not odd.
There's a cop here.
Yeah, and he's almost 7 foot. He hangs off of my table when I get him on my table.
Wow.
He also can't stand the pressure, so he's purposely late for his appointments. He'll make his 1 hour appointment and then show up 15 minutes late with the Starbucks. And he's like, "Here, I brought you Starbucks."
That's so funny.
And I'm like, "You were late on purpose?" Yeah, you hurt me. But it's funny when I told people I had a lot of fangirls that were 7 foot men fangirl over you.
That's funny. Well, so because there were no other comedians from this background, once I think the community discovered me, like they were really into it. So it was a big deal for them. And for me, I just wanted to be Eddie Murphy. I just wanted to be funny.
Right.
But I think some people in the community really latched on. And then sometimes I get people that will want me to speak about specific things, and I go, "Well, I'm not a spokesperson. I'm just my own spokesperson."
Me.
Yeah, and I hope to have similar. I hope to be supportive of the community. I hope to be, especially nowadays with the anti-immigrant sentiment that's out there.
Right.
Matter of fact, actually, at a certain point, I realized that I have a lot in common, not just with just Persians, but with immigrants from all backgrounds, and that's why I started talking about not just being Iran. I used to say my Iranian mom this, my Iranian dad that, and then I was doing a joke about how my Iranian grandmother kept all of her cash in her bra, and how we thought she was a D cup. So one day we went to buy a house, and she pulls the down payment out of her bra, and we realized she's an A cup, and then we look closer and we realized she's grandpa. So that's the joke. And I was doing that joke, and there was a couple girls, Latina, I think there must have been Mexican girls in the audience in the Laugh Factory. They were just dying of laughter, and I go, "Oh my God, Mexican grandmothers do that too."
Yeah, I was going to say my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
I was going to say white grandmas do it too, because my grandma was insane. Don't trust banks.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And so that's just, you realize, first of all, it's an immigrant thing, then you realize it's an old school thing too. So the more you talk about yourself specifically, the more you realize people will see themselves in you. No matter what that thing is. You might sit there and go, "Oh my God, I'm the only person who, whatever, has one arm is one color, the other arm is another color." People will relate. Like, they might not have the same exact issue, but they're going to have some issue. And that's why I think, that's why guys like Richard Pryor are so great, because he gets up there and talks about his faults and his mistakes. And it makes us feel, as an audience, we go, "Oh my God, just, what I did last night is not as bad as I thought."
Right. See, I had that happen, and you're right, it was something very stupid. It was when it was raining last year, or no, it's anytime it rains. I freak out if my windshield wipers are faster than other people's, because I don't want people to think I'm panicking in my car. So I turn my windshield wipers off when I pass people, because I don't want them to think I'm panicking, because for some reason my windshield wipers are always faster than everyone's. And I'm like, "What? I'm fine." And I saw something on Facebook, and it was like a meme, and it basically said the same thing. Like, I panic when my windshield wipers are faster than other people's.
There you have it.
And I go, "Oh my gosh, I'm not the only one."
Yeah, you feel like you're being judged for your windshield wiper.
I do.
That must be a California thing, because you're not used to it raining.
No, I just don't want people. I just wish mine went the same speed as everyone. I want to.
Well, they have speed.
Yeah, but that's.
It doesn't. They don't match.
But you have deeper issues. That
So many issues.
Deeper issues, like what? Like it's your people pleaser. You want to please people so much that if you logically think about it, they're in their car, worried about their windshield wiper, because they're just trying to see the road. They're not looking at you going, "Oh my God, look at how fast her windshield wiper."
I know.
She must have an inferior car.
Right?
She must be in a rush. She's probably very anxious. They're not judging. They're not even caring about you.
They're probably not even looking, but in my head, they're all staring at me.
No,
Look at this weirdo.
It's not that they're probably not looking. They're not looking. So that's what you got to realize. It's like my son the other day got a haircut. I liked it a lot. It was just a little different from before. And he's like, "I don't like it. People are going to say things." I go, "Dara, nobody is going to even notice or care." And that's the thing. A lot of our issues are we call it out. We are worried about it. So that's just such a silly one, in that you're in your car, your windshield wipers are going fast, and you're not worried about, oh, this might blow the battery, or this might ruin the windshield wiper, or what, or oh wow, I'm seeing clearly. You'd rather not see and not be judged by the random person who might be in this torrential rain, looking to the side, looking at your car, going, oh, look at that bitch, her windshield wipers are going way too fast. Yeah.
What is wrong with her? It's sprinkling.
Because then that person's got issues. Like, that person is judgmental. So they're probably in the car going, like, I hope this girl that I'm looking at her windshield wiper doesn't think I'm judgmental. You know. Or maybe there's someone who's got slower windshield wipers and they're like, they're inferior.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
Everyone else goes faster.
I have a lot of those. I'll sing in my car until I get to a stoplight, and then I won't, and then I'll look down. Yeah.
I unfortunately do not have that off button. What was your favorite musical to be in?
Well, I was Little Abner in Little Abner, so I still have this DVD of it somewhere.
Emily just came.
Yeah.
You're a musical person?
I did musicals before comedy.
Oh, well, there you go. So it was really cool, and that was actually one of those things where doing theater as a kid, you got to play everything, right? You got to play Little Abner. We did we had a thing in our senior year where students would write and compose and do an original piece. So somebody did a Batman the musical.
Oh yeah.
And I played Batman. It was actually, the story was more about Robin, but I played Batman, and so I got to play all these great characters. And then that was one of the things that turned me on about being an actor. I said, I get to play all these, I get to be all these different things. And then of course, when I first came to LA, eventually when they find out that you're Iranian, then you start going on auditions for terrorist parts.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of a bummer, because I was going, wait a minute, I thought I was going to get a chance to play all these things, and now I'm starting to get pigeonholed. And I did a couple of those, and then I quickly told my agents I don't want to do any more terrorist parts. I didn't mind continuing to go out for, like falafel shop owner or whatever that is. I didn't mind playing ethnic characters, but I just didn't want to play the terrorist parts. But yeah, but I never would have gotten a chance to play Little Abner again, unfortunately.
Right.
That's the thing that I love about theater, is that it feels like there's less barriers.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things you got to realize is when you come to LA, that person exists. The guy who's going to be Batman. First of all, it's a business. So yes, they're going to want to put Matthew McConaughey or somebody who they feel is going to have a draw.
Numbers.
Right. So that's now number one. Number two, if they say, oh, we want to cast just not a star, we want to find somebody. Well, when Batman is written, as much as we want to say, well, Batman can be black, he can be white, he can be Latino, he can be a million things. As a matter of fact, Magnum P.I. is just coming back on CBS, and I think the guy playing it is a Latino dude. That's great, right? So it's the modern day Magnum P.I. He doesn't have to be a white dude, he can do whatever. So that's good, but with that said, 9 times out of 10, when you have certain parts written and it says, the white guy comes in the room and he's 6'2" and he's got blonde hair and blah blah blah. That guy exists in LA, and he's probably a good actor. Right? So that's the difference. Because when you're doing those plays, unless if you're on Broadway, which again those people probably will exist, but when you're doing a play, especially in school or local or something, it's hard to find the right person for that. So you will end up playing that part. I played when I was at UCLA in the PhD program. I did a play. At the time, I was 21, 22. And I did a play where I was playing this guy's dad, and the guy playing the dad, he was a grown man in the show. He was playing like a 20-some-odd-year-old guy. That guy was probably like 18 or 19 or something. When I was 22, I was playing his dad. Why? Because there wasn't a 50, 60-year-old to play his dad. I had to play the dad.
Right.
So that's what you run into, and you just got to accept that, and then you just got to go. The good news is, not, especially nowadays, they're trying to do colorblind casting. So once in a while, I do get that audition for the guy who's just a guy. And I go, that's great. Let me go see if I can get this. And that's all you can hope for.
Right. Well, is there anything you want to plug? I mean, you're so big.
I'd like to plug that my body is available to be massaged in any form.
No. I will take it.
No, just people if they want to find me, I'm at Maz Jobrani, MazJobrani on Twitter, Instagram. Instagram, Facebook, and constantly touring. So you can go to MazJobrani.com for that, and that's it.
All right, how do you feel?
I feel great.
Good.
I feel great. Oh, my Netflix special, Immigrant. Watch Immigrant. Speaking of immigrants.
Yes.
Yes.
This is great. I really, that was, I usually sleep through my massages.
Haha, not these.
But it was actually, if there's ever a topic to talk about, comedy is great. One time I was doing a massage and the lady was a Russian lady, and she just was like she was going through some bad stuff, and I ended up being her therapist. It was the most stressful massage because she's like, oh, you don't even know today. My daughter, she's in big trouble, and we're getting evicted, and the neighbor's kid trying to commit suicide. It was like one on top of the next. And I'm like, well, I just came here to nap for an hour, man.
Hey, hold on.
Yeah, it's funny. So this is a much better conversation than that one.
I'm glad. I'm glad. No neighbor kids commit suicide in this filming. All right.
Well, thank you.